Gems are the most important resource in Clash of Clans, and with so many places to spend them, it's hard to know if you're using them correctly. Today, I'll go over every single use that gems have in Clash of Clans, which ones are worth it to spend them on, and finally, I'll give you my exact order of things that I spend gems on after playing Clash of Clans for 13 years. It's actually so much simpler than you think. I won't be talking about cosmetics at all. They're way too subjective, so it's up to the individual if they think it's worth it. There's no better place to start than the bottom, so let's begin by listing off every single use that gems have in the game that I would consider a waste. There's a lot, so let's do it in point form. And if you need me to explain why any of these are a waste, then I hope you're having fun watching your first Clash of Clans video ever, but I'm not wasting my time doing that. Okay, so every single use of gems that is just a waste is requesting troops sooner, finishing capital gold in the forge, spending any in the builder base, donating troops after March 2025, getting a shield outside of Legends, raw dogging loot with them, gold pass or event pass tiers, boosting collectors, refreshing the clan games challenge cooldown, practically everything in the gem shop except for the electro boots, raw dogging ore with them, buying more war base slots, finishing upgrades instantly, and last, upgrading the alchemist and the lab assistant, but I'll get into that more later. So with those out of the way, let me talk about the uses for gems that people think are good value when they aren't. Starry ore is easily the hardest resource to farm in the game, but buying 15 of it for 275 gems is just not worth it. Buying this every week would only boost your starry ore gain by around 25%, and if you watch my gem farming guide, which you should have if you haven't already, then you would know that you cannot afford to buy it weekly with the free gems the game provides. If you're trying to farm ore efficiently, you should be at League 31, warring constantly, and buying the starry ore weekly with raid medals. Doing all of that will actually cause you to collect enough starry ore to max every equipment about 5 months sooner than you can collect all the glowy ore you need. If you want to use this website to check how much ore you earn monthly and how long it'll take you to max out equipment, I have it linked in every video description as well as my Discord server. Oh, and since it takes 480 starry ore to max out an epic, that would cost 8,800 gems, which is more than it costs to max the lab assistant. Okay, fine, I'll talk about him now. I couldn't really decide if I should say it's good value or put it here, but I'm not going to pretend something is good just because most people say it is. When it comes to Clash, a lot of people seem to get caught up in the numbers and forget about how things work in practice. Let me just say, the lab assistant from a straight progression standpoint is the second best thing in the game to spend gems on after the 5 builders huts. My issue with it is that a majority of the things in the lab are pointless to upgrade for like 99% of players. If you can confidently say that you use more than 50% of the troops in the lab regularly, then congrats on being one of very few players. And don't try telling me, oh, but Drew, what about when they balance things and the meta shifts? Then you won't have the new best troops ready to use. 2 words. Root riders. The fact of the matter is, while yes, having a variety of troops upgraded can be nice, and the lab assistant is able to boost your lab progression by up to 50%, once you have all the troops you regularly use upgraded, the value it adds to your account overall is essentially 0%. Donating troops is not the main reason to upgrade them. At most you need like 2 anyways if you're the one donating in wars. Anyways, that's essentially it. Good value from a time saving standpoint, but it doesn't actually boost your account's power after a certain point. If we go back to the gem shop, another overrated purchase is the Book of Heroes. It's not horrible value, but it's just been outclassed by the Goblin Builder. With 500 gems, you can get 12.5 days of upgrades done with the Goblin Builder no matter what town hall you're at, but the book can only save you at most 8 days on your heroes. Keep in mind that the books do have the benefit of instantly completing the upgrades, so if you're looking to get those 8-day upgrades done on a hero that you use all the time, then it could actually be better for you. It really just depends on what you value more. Now, something that is actually very hard to put a flat value on is equipment. There's so many factors that go into whether you should buy a certain equipment with gems, and if you're looking for a second opinion, one of the perks I offer when you become a channel member is personalized account reviews covering what you should upgrade in your village, lab, and blacksmith. It's the best way to support me and get signed in return. Thank you to all my whale tier members in particular. If you're unable to support me financially, then please just subscribe. It helps me more than you could even imagine. In general, when it comes to buying equipment with gems, the main factor is whether you buy event passes or not. If you buy the event passes, you can get more epic equipment than you're able to upgrade, and I would say that there's no need to spend gems on equipment, unless you need the electro boots. They're easily the best equipment in the game and require 0 investment to get a majority of their value. On my free-to-play account, I'm just saving up my starry ore for whatever epic I buy from the next event shop. The other reason I say to buy those with gems no matter what is because we're now at 13 epic equipment in the game that have to cycle through the event shop. Last event, we had the first 2 epics in the Giant Gauntlet and Frozen Arrow arrow available on top of the 2 returning ones we usually do, but remove those and bring the total cycling equipment down to 11, and that's still only once every 6 events or once a year that any one equipment is guaranteed to be available outside of gem purchases. Even if it's 4 equipment that they're cycling through every event, then that's still only once every 8 months. Never mind the fact that they're continuing to add more epics every 2 months for the foreseeable future, which just lowers the chance of the equipment you're looking for to be available. Even with that in mind, I believe that you should not be spending gems on any equipment other than the electro boots, unless the ones you have are maxed or just useless and you have a bunch of star ore to spend. After the electro boots, the only other equipment I think provide enough of a power boost to justify spending gems when you're able to upgrade them are the spiky ball, magic mirror, action figure, or rocket spear. These equipment were used in nearly every single attack in the recent World Finals, and they really are game changers. Now, for the 2 best uses for your gems, the Builder's Apprentice and the Goblin Builder. The reason I want to talk about them together is because they're so similar in value, you have to compare them to see which is actually more useful. I always see my boy getting discredited for taking too long to be worth the investment. But once again, this is one of those times where people get too focused on the numbers and don't think about how it works when you're actually playing the game. At this point, everyone and their mother has talked about how long it takes to break even when you compare the gems it takes to max the Builder's Apprentice to how many days the Goblin Builder can work for the same amount of gems. All that matters is that it will take 488 uses of a maxed Builder's Apprentice to save the same amount of time that you could by using the 6,500 gems it takes to max him on the Goblin Builder instead. Technically, it's 487.5 days, but you can only use them once a day, so you have to round the number. And yes, I know he comes up again 23 hours from when you used him last, but if you're seriously ruining your sleep schedule to get it to roll over and save an hour or 2 by taking years off your life, then you've got other things to worry about. Anyways, the main reason most people give when saying the Builder's Apprentice isn't worth it is that since it takes about 16 months of playing to break even, it's not worth the investment. My main argument against that is, well, if you're not going to even be playing the game in the long run, then what's the point of spending gems at all? If you're trying to max out and get as much value as possible, it doesn't matter if in the short term you could get slightly more value using them on something else, because in the short term, you can barely do anything in the game. Clash of Clans is a long-term grind, and the game rewards long-term thinking. On top of that, the Goblin Builder is only in the game half the time. To have him active for the 162.5 days you need to spend the gems you could use maxing out the Builder's Apprentice will take either 8 or 10 months, depending on how much extra time you squeeze out of him by putting him on long upgrades right before he leaves at the end of the month. Another thing about the Builder's Apprentice is that once you hit that break-even point, you're pretty much just getting free time savings for the rest of the time you play Clash. It doesn't matter if you take a break for a year or 2, when you come back you still get to activate them once a day to save you 8 hours. If you spent those gems anywhere else, they're just gone. The reason his value isn't lessened by the same reason I used for the Lab Assistant is because every single thing you upgrade in your village does affect how it performs on defense. Of course, key defenses and offensive upgrades provide more value than, say, a bomb, but you truly never know what will be the deciding factor in your defenses. Unlike most multiplayer games, you have zero control during a battle, so the only thing you can do is set a strong base and upgrade it as quickly as possible. This means that before you even think about using the Goblin Builder, max out the Builder's Apprentice first. Unless it's Hammer Jam, then I would definitely have that creepy ass dude running 24/7. Now that I've explained every single use for your gems in the game, I'll go over the exact order of what I spend my gems on all my accounts. First is always going to be the 5 Builders Huts. If you want to see how with a little grinding you could unlock the 5th builder in less than 3 weeks, then you can check out my free-to-play series. The playlist will be linked below. Next is the Electro Boots once you hit Town Hall 13 and unlock the RC. If you have the chance to get them from the event shop, then buy them there instead. Once you have those, focus on maxing out the Builder's Apprentice. If you're at this point and an event like Hammer Jam is going on, then feel free to spend gems on the Goblin Builder or Researcher, but otherwise, just max him out so you can start getting to the point where he'll be giving you infinite value. After that, it honestly gets complicated. I like to split my gems between the Goblin Builder and the Lab Assistant. I know I said he's useless, but yeah, the lab's got to be maxed at some point for the aura of a maxed out account. After nearly 8 months, I have him up to level 9, and I just dropped probably close to 4,000 gems on the Goblin Builder and Researcher during Hammer Jam, so I'll get him maxed out soon. Every time he starts costing more gems per level, I start focusing slightly less on him, but if you don't want to be stuck with a maxed out account except for like half of your lab, this is when you start working on him. Once he's maxed, you'll want to use all the gems you get on a combination of the Goblin Builder, Books of Heroes, or Ore. Whichever of the 3 is going to be the limiting factor for you to max out. For me, it does go in that order since there's a few equipment I know I'm never going to use, and I already know I'll have a lot of Books of Heroes to pop on those 8-day hero upgrades. At this point, just play it it by ear and adjust what you're buying as you go. I kind of just play the game based on vibes at this point. All I'm saying is if I spent the same amount of time I did learning about Clash on solving world hunger, there would be a lot less starving Marvins in the world. If I taught you something new, make sure to subscribe. And if you can, please become a channel member. It is greatly appreciated and it helps me to be able to continue doing this full time. Now the hammer gem is done and I don't have to play the game for hours every day to feed my addiction, I can get back to working on videos and spending less time actually playing games than when I worked a full-time job that didn't revolve around playing video games. Yeah, I did practically nothing all day there. Anyways, thanks for your support. I'll be back with another one soon, so have a good rest of your day. I'll see you later.